Record onto this computer. Well, here we are, 9:30 on almost the right day. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you, everyone, for being in allowance of our time zone craziness.
Yeah. So what we thought we'd do today, just a bit of a recap of where we've been so far in terms of this 3-month program. We're almost halfway through it, which is amazing. The first 4 weeks were very much on letting go of limitations because we couldn't go any further until people had actually chosen to move on and get themselves ready for creation. And that's what this next month is about creation. Our first one was last week. And today what we want to do is to focus on the creation side of things. And then the third month, we're leaving that as a bit of a surprise for you, but that's where everything will come together for you. So in terms of creation, what we've done in the last week is sent out a lot of graphics for you to have a look at and to consider. And what we'd like to do is to go through those and just explore what that means to you, and get you to contribute and to have conversations with us about what does this actually look like in your life. So the first graphic that we sent out was to gather a very clear picture of your current position. What's happened so far? And are you happy with your financial situation and your life at present? So that was the first question we got you to look at.
The target of that is for you to have a clarity about what you have created so far. So you have a platform to create something totally different if you're not happy with what you have created so far. Or if you are happy with what you have created, then you can go into the space of what else is possible. Unless you actually have a clarity about what you have created so far, everything else will be just hodgepodge. And if you don't have clarity about what you have created so far, then you go into autopilot mode. So the first question for you is, after looking at that, or what you have created your life so far, are you creating your reality, or are you living someone else's reality? Are you creating your own reality, or are you living someone else's reality?
It's a great question.
You don't have to tell us, but it is important for you to know that if you want to create phenomenal reality for yourself, you need to be aware of, what you are creating. And if you're happy with that, that's fine. We like to invite everyone to see that there are different possibilities to be able to live beyond these realities. But there are so many people who really enjoy living in this linear construct of this reality, and they can do so well within this linear construct. Mm. And they are doing so well in this reality that they don't have the need to get out of these realities. So we're not going to force anyone to choose to create beyond this reality. But what we would like to inspire people to ask the question, okay, if there's beyond the reality that I have already created, what would that look like? What would that be like? And what do I have to be? What can I be and do different to have that? Mm. Mm. Any questions so far? Let's have a look at what the questions coming in.
So Aurelia's asked, can we talk a little bit more about the difference between the two of, I'm not quite sure what the two was, but...
Do you mean the two? One is trap yourself in this reality and be happy with it. And another one is create yourself in different reality. Is that what you mean, Aurelia? Yes?
Just nod your head.
Okay.
Living someone else's reality. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay. So one of the things it's fascinating to watch, and please, in all of this, don't judge anything as right or wrong, because it happens to everyone, is when we're living in someone else's reality.
Hang on. First, there is no wrongness with your choice. Would you be willing to see that every single choice you create in your life there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. If you say that you really love linear construct and this contextual reality, there's nothing wrong with that as well. It's just the choice, the preference you make. But if you don't create that preference, you can create infinite possibilities. So please be aware that there's nothing wrong. So don't even go into any judgment that, oh, I'm trapping myself in this contextual reality. I'm living in the linear construct, but I like it. So why should I change and be something different? So that is fine. That gives you clarity that is okay. So it's basically, we will talk about that, O'Reilly, but basically first we would like you to look at what you have created and be grateful for everything. So the question is first, would you be willing to have the gratitude for everything that you have created right now? Everything. So if you haven't had any gratitude for what you have created as your life right now, and it doesn't matter what you have created, even if you created with little money, there are a lot of things you can be grateful for. There's so much. You have your health, you have your capacity, you have your awareness, you have your ability to choose, to even be looking for something different in your life. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here.
Breathing's a bonus.
You know, so please start acknowledging even anything, even getting up and sitting here listening to us, you know, like that is different space from what other people are doing. So everywhere that you haven't been looking at your life every day and have the gratitude for it, because the more you are grateful for what you are creating right now, the more you're going to create more. But if you get up every morning and start judging of it's lack, it's not enough, I should have been created more, why it's money, why don't I have enough money in my bank account, why don't I have enough, you know, possibilities, why don't I have enough clients, why don't I have enough project, put everything behind that. Change all that into, so I'm so grateful for my health right now. I'm so grateful for my capacity to actually go out and expand and be more and choosing to have more clients. So look at all the judgment you start having about your life right now and see how you can turn that into grateful for everything you have created right now.
So one of the things you probably all know, that the work that we do, and particularly the work I do, I am up to my armpits in this contextual reality every single day. With the work that I do with boards and with CEOs who are very much in this contextual reality. And it's a lot of fun to play in that sandpit. But every now and then I've got to remind myself that it's just a sandpit. So understanding that working in and being with this contextual reality is fun. Well, for me, it's fun. And at the same time, I know there's so much more than that contextual reality. So when Chutisa and I have our conversations, we are very adamant that we move outside of this contextual reality to have those conversations.
So let's address the question that O'Reilly has said, that what's the difference between trapping yourself in this reality, contextual reality, versus functioning outside or create your own reality?
Well, to me, it's understanding what's going on in this reality, understanding and have knowledge of what's actually occurring, but not buying any of that as real, which includes other people, and in particular, their feelings and emotions. Have any of you ever gone into a meeting, or you're about to meet someone and the pit of your stomach feels, you know, really terrible? Yeah, I can see you all nodding, okay? Again, you've heard this before, but I'll say it again. What if that wasn't yours? And the reason that it's not yours is purely and simply because it is not yours.
Well, all of us really, no matter where we live in or what nationality and what culture we have been raised in, we have been raised to be an employee of this reality. We've been trained to be that. So for us to even choose to not being employee of this reality. We have to make the choice not to be that. So everywhere that we've been trained to, where do I fit? Where do I benefit? Where do I win? How to not lose? If we function from those four unconscious questions that we not even ask ourselves, most of the time we're just trying to fit, trying to benefit just for us and try not to lose something. We immediately trap ourselves into this reality without even asking what else is possible. You know, the linear construct is huge. And when it comes to financial reality, we cannot see anything else besides linear construct.
Mm-hmm.
We always see that the only way we can make money is to get a job, to get a business, to have clients. As soon as you think about all that, to have a job that someone will pay you, you give the power away totally to whoever that job. If you get a business, if you build a business, that the only way that your business can be successful is to have a client who willing to work with you, who will pay you. You really, give yourself away to that business. If you're looking for a partner who's going to be your sugar daddy, who's going to be the one who actually support you with the money, you're already giving the power away to those. So be aware that, are you creating your financial reality and financial life in your own term, or you are rely on everyone else to support you for you to have that financial reality? And again, there's nothing wrong, just to be aware of that. And if you say, I'm really happy to have a sugar daddy who actually give me a lot of money and keep me in the style of life that I want, bravo. How can you use that to your advantage? What else is possible? What else can I be and do different to create more, generate more, and use that to my advantage? So never judge that what you have created as wrong. But let's say using that funny thing about sugar daddy, but if you look at that, you can say, okay, if that's the case, so what else I can create? What are the multiple stream of possibility that I can create with that?
See, the thing we hope you get from this is none of those things we mentioned are wrong. Why can't you have them all? But it's only when you've decided one of them is the answer is where you trap yourself into this reality. Have them all. Have a job. Have a business. Have a consultancy. Have a sugar daddy or a sugar mama. That'd be interesting.
You can have all of that. You can have a job that pay you really good, stable money. And then you can ask, how can I use my job to my advantage? You can build your business on the side.
As well as having a job.
That will be fun to do and play from that space. You can have a sugar daddy who will give you cash just for being with you because he or she likes your energy and like the space that you are being. You can have multiple streams of possibilities with total ease. You don't have to have one or the other.
And not make any of them the answer. So that's really the point of this conversation, is don't make any of them the answer, because there's so much more available as well as what you currently have.
So the question for you now is, after just having the long explanation, is, are you owned by this reality?
Are you owned by this reality? Oh, that's an interesting
one. Are you owned by money? Because if you go to work, if you go for your business, if you go for your sugar daddy, if you go for whatever, just for the money, you are being owned by money. Because when you function beyond this reality, you know that you create and generate everything without needing anyone or anything. When you totally trust in you is a really weird concept within this reality that people will ask, I don't know how. Who can help me to trust in myself? I mean, that already trapped you in this reality, because you start looking from something outside yourself to help you to trust yourself. Can you see the vicious cycle there? Can someone please help me to trust myself? Is that you're already saying that I'm not trusting myself to know how to trust myself, so I get someone else to show me how to trust myself? It's like trusting yourself is a choice. And once you start trusting yourself and your capacity, you can create and generate anything with total ease. But it comes from that.
Actually, there's a good question here that I think it was Cheryl that asked, which is relevant to this, which is how do you deal with requests that don't make sense and your brain won't compute?
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi.
I see you online.
Yeah.
So happy to see you the last 2 days as well, or 3 days, two days ago.
How do you deal with requests that don't make sense and that your brain won't compute is to some extent where you do not trust yourself. What if you actually trusted that the sense of confusion was just that you don't have enough information or now is not the right time for something? So what I find is that when something just doesn't make sense, just be with that. Don't try and force it into existence. Or if you're dealing with a person, my personal favorite phrase, Cheryl, is, I'm confused. Can you help me here? I use that all the time. When someone is trying to make things very complex and there's agendas behind it.
Yes.
And I'm really not that particularly interested in what their agenda is. What I will say to them is, look, can you help me here? I'm confused. What exactly do you mean by this?
And the thing is, Cheryl, when you starting to receive the request and you feel confused, you know that those people create that energy of confusion for you.
Yes.
Because a lot of time, people don't give you enough information is the first thing. Is when you don't have enough information, you feel confused. And when people trying to create the space to confuse you, they will withhold information. They will create everything to create for you to doesn't even compute sometimes. And I sometimes when I'm sit around with the people and can feel my head go into like spongy, I'm immediately go into, so what agenda are these people having here? They all have agenda. What are they creating for me to be this confused? And what question can I be with them? So you have to take the power back and start being a question. Once you first acknowledge that people do love to create confusion.
Oh, some people, it's an art form.
And sometimes they don't even know that they are doing that because they're already confused. And if they have agenda of some form, they will use that to create it. Particularly you work in corporate America.
Yeah.
It's at a great space for you to cultivate and develop your muscle to know the question that will unlock their agendas, because there are a lot of agendas. What question can you be that allow these people to expose their agenda with total ease? That's the one that I love to ask, because if I sit in a meeting for a long time and I'm starting to feel so, it's not overwhelmed, starting to feel so fuzzy and confused, I know that doesn't belong to me. I know that these people create confusion in the thing and due to their agenda. So ask the question.
Yeah. And sometimes those people are us. So have you ever any of you, I know Aurelia, I know, but sometimes what you'll find is that you are them and you are creating confusion in your own universe. And this sometimes happens when you sit down and you're trying to do something with finance and you decide that you're all confused by it. Or that you sit down and, for me personally, it's filling out forms.
So the question is, when you're starting to feel confused, first you say, what confusion am I creating?
That's it.
To trap myself into this contextual reality I am creating right now? Because sometimes we just create that because, let's face it, we all love this contextual reality. Otherwise, we would just step out of it. So we have to constantly choosing to be and do something totally different. So be aware. Am I the first person who create this confusion? what agenda I am having right now to create this confusion for myself. And then look around at the people. What agenda are they having to create this confusion? And what contribution am I being here to magnify this confusion for everyone?
And for everyone, you could actually replace the word "what agenda do they have" with "what agenda do I have to create this confusion?" Because it's a great sense of clarity for you when you actually realise that you, as in I, Jutissa, you, whoever, creates confusion sometimes, which is just an invention.
And Cheryl, once you realize that confusion that and requests and all those that been created is an invention from their agenda, you have power over everyone in that meeting. You do have the power over not the power over, but you have the power that you're not buying into their agenda. I think we had the question from Dom, which is linked to this one.
Yeah.
Dom wrote to us and said that in a lot of his meeting, there seem to be a lot of seagulls that fly in, eat,
and then poo over everything and everyone, and then leave again.
With a lot of upheaval behind.
And their main source of sustenance is the rubbish. So that's a pretty good description of people.
Now, first, when you listen to that and read that, you think, okay, that just sounds very corporate America. That sounds very business-like. But where in your life do you have seagulls that flew over?
They poo on your shoulders
and create upheaval in your life. So you can look at all of that as well. But when he asked us that question, that is very much corporate world. There's a lot of corporate psychopaths and the bullies that their main agenda and main job is to come in and create as much confusion and upheaval. That's just their agenda. And it's not like we spent time with Gary and Dan for the last few days on the class in Houston. And one thing that came up so clear that totally changed the way I see everyone is that nothing is personal. So, like when you sit in there with people attacking you, a lot of time in the corporate meeting, to be able into the space that, it's really truly not personal. It's just their agenda for whatever it is, which allow us to even be more space that not taking anything personally into that, which allow us to be the question, choice, possibility, and contribution a lot more.
Here's a little home play for everyone. Okay, there's two phrases that are just absolutely gems that came from Gary and Dane these last couple of days. One of them is nothing is personal. And if you think something is personal, it's not. You're just trying to make it personal because the other person is not even thinking about you. So the second phrase is, and you are getting that it's personal, but in fact, you're only just a convenient target for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the notion of being a convenient target. You just happen to be there. Mr. Dom, are you getting this?
Mr. Dom, so
yes.
Dom, the first thing I would like to share with you is you have to not see it as personal.
Because it's not from them.
Because as soon as you sit in that meeting, I know I've been in many of those meetings, and I can't help but say, oh, this is pretty personal. They come in and eat and shit and leave. That is pretty personal. Right?
Yeah.
But to them, it's not personal. And we've heard Gary and Dan say for so long that they just do it because they can. And it didn't have the same energy as, they do it because they can. It's the same thing. It's nothing's personal. But if you can be in that space, Dom, they don't do it personal, then you can start being a catalyst to different possibilities.
Yeah, quite honestly, they're not even thinking of you one little bit. They're too busy shitting and leaving that you're irrelevant. And the thing that I love, because it just has such a visual, is the notion that if you feel that someone is doing something to you, get over it because you're just a convenient target. You just happen to be there.
You happen to be in that meeting.
Yeah.
If you can go into every single meeting now from the space that it's nothing personal for you, and you in that meeting, and if the seagull came in and actually shit on you, then it's not personal. It's just you happen to be a target that's sitting in the space that they fly past. Now, everywhere that you're not willing to be there,
how do we get onto seagulls?
Anyway, he asked the question last week. But the key thing is you've been talking to us a lot about being a catalyst to change. And this is the answer for everyone, no matter whether you are working with, your own business or you with your partner or something. But for Dom, when he asked about wanting to be the catalyst for change, is that you cannot be a catalyst for change unless if you think that everything is personal
or anything is
personal. Yeah, actually, I've not been thinking of them as personal.
No, but energetically,
okay.
Energetically, we don't even. Most of our thing we never think personal, but energetically,
Can I suggest that maybe you are, Dom, because everywhere where you've written to us and said, look, they come in and they create confusion, they do all of that, you were taking that personally, even though they're not mentioning Dom. And this is what we do. We tend to do.
Okay.
So if you step back from that and say it's not personal, then you can actually look to see what is, rather than your frustration. And there's someone else who wrote about frustration.
It's not the same meaning, Dom.
Yeah.
It's not the same meaning because I have been watching Steve a lot when we go into this corporate work with the board and all these sort of things. But he has the capacity to actually be that energy already, because everyone who's trying to attack us or him in any way can't. And nothing will stick if energetically you not see that anything that they do anywhere is personal. And when we're talking about nothing personal, it's not the cognitive thinking that is
it's
personal.
About having no point of view about it.
Energetically, not having the point of view about it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you can be in that space, you can be what generative energy space consciousness can I be here that allow me to be the catalyst for different possibility with total ease.
Simone Zucker, that one's for you, because I've seen what you've written there, okay?
So to be a catalyst for change and for different possibility is not the doing. It's a generative energy space consciousness that you can be in that meeting, in that environment that will reveal the seagull's agenda. Would you be willing to be there in that space that all of those seagulls that came in? You first be the generative energy space consciousness that allow you to be the catalyst for change. And then you can go into the question, what would it take for all these seagulls to reveal and show their agenda, their hand of why they are here? You can use your being catalytic energy to start being the question. What question can I be with these people that will expose the agenda to everyone?
To everyone else. And then you don't have to do a thing because everyone else will do what needs to be done. This is the great joy of watching seagulls flying around. You can actually show everyone their buttholes to see what's actually coming out of them.
I mean, you could even say, hey, Mr. Seagull, I'm really confused here. I'm really confused with why are you asking or why are you choosing this, and just leave it. If you're willing to be the catalyst, willing to be judged that, oh my God, he's confused. He's our engineer. How could he be confused?
Do we really want to confuse engineer?
Do we want to confuse engineer? So if you're willing for people to look at it and say, oh, well, Dom seemed to know everything. And he said that he's confused here. What is the agenda here that we are not seeing? But the willingness to receive, to be judged is big. And then you don't have, you're just not going to be judged because you create the space for the seagulls to reveal what it is. But that is what we're talking about, be the catalyst for different possibilities, because you become the entrainment for the energy that entrain other people to be in that space with you.
Anyway, try it out, Dom, and write to us. And I know you're going to have great stories with that one.
And anti-conscious people will just not able to entrain, and they will have to reveal their anti-consciousness. Does that help at all? Is that
Absolutely, yeah. I'm perceiving the energy there.
Oh.
That's the big thing. So thank you.
We've had someone write in, and I won't say who it was, but thanks, Vicky, who said that what's the difference between using this to my advantage and how do I benefit? One of the things always, whenever we talk about using this to our advantage, it's not to then cause harm.
Well, no. People think that when we talk about using this to our advantage, it's almost like the doing from anti-consciousness. We are talking about using our awareness to our advantage. It's your awareness of how the other person functions. How do you use your awareness to your advantage? Not looking at someone doing something anti-conscious and you're trying to use that against them. And people tend to misidentify, misapply. Using to our advantage is use it against the person. For example, with Dom and the seagulls that fly in, how can he use his awareness and be the question, choice, possibility, and contribution to the meeting to his advantage, not trying to attack the anti-conscious person that come into the meeting to his advantage, but by being the question already, by saying, hey, I think I know all of this, but I'm just totally confused with what you are asking us to do. That is the using his awareness that they are seagulls and they are here to create upheaval for everyone to his advantage by being in the question, by using all the question that will allow them to reveal and expose their agenda to everyone.
Confusion, purely and simply, is something's occurring that doesn't meet what you've already decided should occur. So confusion occurs when you've already decided there should be some clarity, but it doesn't meet what you've decided is clarity. So therefore you're confused because you can't see the pattern or the outcome or whatever it might be in there. So, and it's just, being the question about, so what would it take for me to have some clarity about this? And usually it's just a point of view that we've got about something that is creating that confusion. So I loved, who was it that said, Aurelia was saying, I'm actually laughing at myself about the confusion I'm creating about this whole notion of confusion. I'm confused about confusion. Way to go, Aurelia. So confusion is not right, it's not wrong. It's just when something is occurring that doesn't meet what we have decided should be clear, then we create that as confusion.
I love this question because whatever we create and we own by it, then we give the power to it. So you could always say, am I owned by my confusion? Oh yes, I am owning by my confusion. I'm willing to destroy and create it all. And what question can I be that would allow me to release this confusion with total ease? It's very simple tools that we all know and learn about being the question. So if you could even stop long enough by, am I being owned by my job? And if you look at it and you have all of the reason and justification about your job, you are being owned by it. Am I being owned by my business? And every reason and justification about why your business is and how it should be, you are being owned by it. Am I being owned by money? Am I being owned by
family?
Steve? Am I being owned by, everything? Anywhere that you give your power away to someone that is greater and better and more than your choice, your question, your possibility, and your contribution, you are being owned by it. And okay, I have to say it again. If you listen to yourself and said, I'm being owned by it, but it's working for me right now, and you don't judge yourself, but you can say, okay, what else is possible? What else I create and generate? What point of view do I have? What awareness can I be that would allow me to create something totally different with total ease?
I just love this. I've got to say, I love this conversation around confusion, because that occurs particularly in the finance field, particularly when you look at our own finances. How many times have you looked at something that's coming and said, oh, I'm confused, I don't know what that means, or I'm confused about how to, whatever it might be. What I found very, very useful when you have that sense of confusion is just to say to yourself, well, what if I wasn't confused? What would need to change? Or what if this was not confusing and was actually simple? What would I need to change? Or what confusion am I creating here that if I didn't confuse myself would release the confusion of the confusion that I've confused myself by confusing? All of these are just tools. They're just examples of tools to get you out of deciding that the confusion is your operative state of being, because it doesn't have to be, if you're willing to be those sorts of questions. And there's no right question. It's just to say, well, what if I wasn't confused? Where would I start?
I think the wonderful question here is when we are being owned by anything, you create that in your life. And we've been looking at it for quite some time, that most of us are being owned by our story. So I think if we can be aware of the story that we write to create our life, and we love it so much of that story, we are being owned by it. So, I would invite you for these next few days to start looking at the story that you're telling yourself every day.
Like, I'm confused, or I don't know, or whatever that story is.
My business is so perfect.
I'm frustrated. There's another story.
Or I'm so successful and the business is so perfect already.
Oh yes.
That is that true? Because if you already say, I've already done that, I got that, I'm so successful, you never have a space to ask what else is possible. Because if that is a story you are telling yourself, that you are all that there's no space for you to be more. But I'm not saying that you come from the space of totally keep on judging to be more. You have to want to create more from a space of already grateful for what you're already creating and what else is possible.
My favorite story that I hear all the time, and we hear it pretty much every day, is I've tried that. The story of, no, I've done that, I've tried that. Hear that all the time. Whenever you hear the story of, I've tried that, what if you actually change that to a question, which was, okay, so what would need to change so something different occurred? So what if I tried this in a slightly different way? What if I did it and forgot about what the past was? Because often we say, what about X, Y, and Z? Have you thought that maybe there's some questions there? Oh, no, I've tried that. That's a full stop. That's the end of any sort of conversation. Instead of buying into that you've tried something, what about a question like, well, okay, what else is possible here?
But the thing is, though, what we have found that there's another good question that you could ask yourself all the time is, am I proving here or am I creating here? And that is such a simple question, because a lot of us have the need to prove. And let's face it, we're proving to ourselves because no one really cares too much, even though when we think that we're trying to prove to them. And
that's because it's not personal, darling.
No, but proving is so huge. Like if we tell ourselves the story that we are so amazing, we're great, we're successful already, we are shutting down other possibilities. So what are we proving to ourselves? It's just like we have to sit back. Even when I hear myself talking about something that, I just always sit back and say, what am I proving here? What am I proving to myself here that I'm not that, or I'm already being that? Anywhere that I'm proving to myself about I'm already that. I'm not willing to be greater than what I have been willing to be then. So I love that question. Am I proving or am I creating with the story that I keep telling myself here? Because we are telling our own story. just to prove to ourselves that we are everything that we think we are, without seeing that, well, so what else is possible? What are we not choosing to be here, that if we choose to be it, would allow us to have everything we desire in life? But if we constantly proving that we are already successful, we are already good, we are already done that, we would never ask, okay, so how can we use our success to create different possibilities here? Because if we're proving to ourselves that we are successful, we're just not going to create the space for ourselves to say, okay, I am successful already, so what else can I create with this success beyond what I have ever considered?
So,
I have a question.
good. Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
Hey.
So Arlene and I took over the family business.
Woo-hoo.
And I mean, we've been doing it for many years. It's the big toys for big boys. And maybe you've heard Simone talk about it. But one of the things, being a second generation, for a long time, we talked about keeping the legacy alive.
Yeah.
So I see so much of that proving in that context that we have been trying to prove and whatnot. And a couple of years ago, we sort of asked the questions and said, okay, we're not leaving a legacy, we're leading a legacy.
Oh, nice.
And whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think in the back of my head, there's still that legacy that we got to prove that we're just as good or we can't be better, that every time we rise up, something always, we come back down to where maybe mom and dad were. So it's all twisted, the confusion, the proving. What questions could I ask?
Yes, the legacy is such an interesting term that creates so many projection, expectation, judgment, and conclusion in our universe.
Can I just
legacy
say,
is such
Can I just say something, Kathy? Because this is the world that I work and live and breathe, what you're just talking about. What if it wasn't so much of the legacy? What if it was, this is the vision that our parents created, the vision for the change that's required in the world. How we do it is how we do it. But is that vision still a strong vision for this change? Not the how, but the vision that they had for how to create this world. And if you actually get what that vision was, not the words, but the energy of it, but it would actually help to have the words as well, then the key thing would be, as part of our family business, get rid of the notion of legacy. It's more, this is how we started creating this change in the world. Is this still powerful for us? Is this still the difference that we want to make in the world?
Kathy, what does keeping legacy alive mean to you?
Well, I think initially for me, it was honoring the memory of our dad, who was a big part of our life. And, was such a presence. So, even though mom's still alive and she's still somewhat part of the business on a part-time basis, it was to honor them. But I think it's really quite twisted because, again, even as you said, that word legacy, there is so many projections, so many expectations. And, even if we don't do the same thing as mom and dad did, customers come back and go, well, that isn't the way your dad would have done it. So it's, and I don't even know if our vision is the same as what their vision was. So we haven't talked about that. So that's a really interesting
Can I give
perspective on it.
But you can have the vision without dishonoring your dad. Your new vision can be expansion for your dad's vision without throwing your dad's vision out of the door. That would be dishonoring of his vision.
The honoring of your father is the difference that you're creating in the world. There's the true honoring.
Exactly.
It's not the how-to, but it's that creation of that change, that difference that he and your mother had as part of their way of being. And you're now translating that slightly differently. But if someone comes up and says, well, that's not the way your father would have done it, then instead of buying into that contextual reality, you might say to them something like, actually, his vision surpasses everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. No, yeah. So, and Arlene and I have been talking about this, that this legacy thing has really kept us.
Mm-hmm.
Trap you from being greater than you can be, the creator for different possibilities. And people, like you said, people trying to trap you to be small and to be what your dad has created many years ago. And what agenda are they being? They're not looking to actually allow you to expand and be more. And I mean, by expand on your dad's vision of possibilities, is that much more keeping the legacy alive than keeping his vision as what original was, and not doing any more and keep it small and contained in the box? Is that keeping the legacy alive? So it's almost like you buy in the term legacy of this contextual reality that keep the confusion and keep you really within this contextual reality.
This contextual reality sees legacy as something that is parts it's used by date, but we haven't figured out a way to fix it yet. So things like legacy systems and you mergers and acquisitions, there's all these legacy systems. They've never got around to fixing it or changing it or doing anything. Whereas in fact what you're talking about is creating the future through the filter of the vision that your parents had that resonates so strongly with you that you are now creating the future to actually honor that vision.
It's almost like if you buy in all these people that you have to keep the legacy alive according to this reality, you will keep running your business based on the past. If you have to maintain the legacy, you wouldn't be able to be in the question about what would you like to create for the future. So what would it be like if you start creating strategic awareness and strategic visioning for your business by use your dad vision, by use your mom vision for the business as the platform to build, to create and generate more. So you start having their vision. Just extrapolate with Arlene and say, and your mom, about what is the vision of dad for this business. So start jot down all the things, and of every single point you have the vision of your dad and your mom for the business. You can look at, so if we're going to use this vision and create and generate for future possibility, how can we use this number one point of vision to build for the future? So you're not throwing anything else. You use their original vision to expand and extrapolate on your vision. So when people come and attack you and say, it's attack really by saying your dad would never done it this way. And this is 2018, right? I'm just concerned.
And he died in 2000. He died 18 years ago. So it's crazy.
Crazy. So would you be willing to list down all of his vision for this business? Look at each and everything of his vision for possibilities, and then write the strategy and the vision with the three of you. Include your mom with it, and then come up with the vision that create from his original vision. Then you can say all of this is not what he's doing now in the 2018, because he didn't have the internet. He didn't have any of this. So I'm just expanding, extrapolating on his vision so that I'm fulfill his legacy that he already created, to be more in the world and taking what he has created to have more and generate more in the world. If you come from that space, then you will not be judging everything you do, because Steve will talk about how strategically will match all your vision. So every choice that you make for your business we'll go back to the vision. You want to talk
Okay,
about?
so this is for everyone, because each one of you can actually run through this next little exercise. It's incredible.
Even if it's just your life, not the business.
And literally this only takes 4 or 5 or 6 minutes, but you might want to do it a few times. And the exercise goes something like this. So here's what I'm currently doing. So take Kathy's business, for example. Here's our current business. What difference does this business make? What difference does this business make in people's lives? Okay, so there's a difference. So why is that important? What difference would that make? And what difference would that make? Oh, okay, and then what difference would that make? What you're doing is unpeeling the onion of all of the descriptions and limitations and conclusions you've got around what a particular business is or what your life is. And if you start to ask these questions, you'll start to get greater clarity. There's no right answer or wrong answer, but literally we can take any business and ask these questions of the leaders of that business, and it'll take at the most 10 minutes to get something that actually that describes the energy of the difference that business makes. What we've got to understand is every business does not produce. Every business creates something. It creates a difference. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in existence.
Otherwise, it'd just be commodity and widget. And
well, even widgets create a difference in someone's life, because without that widget, their life would be different.
True.
So what is the difference that we make in people's lives through the work or through the business that we do? Now, some of you that are consultants and have been asking these questions, what difference? The work that I do, what difference does that make in people's lives? Okay, so if they were to get that, then what difference would that make? Okay, if they were to get that, then what difference would that make? And if you actually record yourself going through this, you'll find that over the space of 5 to 10 minutes, you'll have all the words you will ever need for marketing. But you're not getting into, here's what I do. Here's what I do. Not interested in what you do. I couldn't give a hoot. I'm being polite here. I couldn't give a hoot about what you do. I am very, very interested in the difference that you create.
But you could even use the same process that Steve described if you only see yourself as just a mother or just a wife or just a partner. You are not just anything. So if you actually use that process and ask, what different am I making for me? What different am I making in the world? What different am I making for my family, for my children? It's really very much same. Then you stop judging that I'm just a mother sitting at home, because you are so much more, and that allow you to create from different space.
So play with that, folks, because you'll then be way ahead of just about all of this reality just by understanding that the difference that you make and having no point of view about it.
So we would like to also from this, another second part of this conversation is that be aware of what you would really like to create as your life and as your business. You know, so for Kathy, that vision that you have about what you would like to take this business into, what's truly possible for your business for now and for the future. If you have that vision, energetic vision in place of what you would like to create for your business, for your life, for Arlene's life, for the life of your everyone, the mom, the thing. So you because you have a bigger business, once you have those awareness of how they all contribute to one another, then everything that you created from that space will be wishing well for all. And we talk a lot about benevolence, capitalism. That is a true benevolence, capitalist. Kathy, if you can create your business from wishing well for all, not from just maintain the legacy.
And wishing well for all then gets you to look at, well, who is these all? Who are these all? Oh, new markets I hadn't thought of, new strategic alliance partners I hadn't thought of, new champions of what we do that I hadn't thought of, because you're actually wishing well for all. So
thank you. Yeah, thank you for that, because it's interesting. A question that Arlene and I have been asking just in the last week, and I think some of it came up during the abuse class, was, I mean, we had put it out there that we were interested in selling the business, right? So backing away, and that energy contributes or takes away from the business. So the question we've started asking is what if we had this business all of our life? And that has changed. So adding your guys' questions into the wishing well is that rather than we can only, we're only going down this one path of selling, versus what if we had it for the rest of our lives, that expansion plus adding the question about the wishing well.
Yeah.
Wow.
And be from that energy and space and consciousness that you can have either one or all of the above.
What if it was both?
Because if you start asking from the space of what if we keep it all our life, you might stop other possibility that the business might want to be. Like, what would it be like if you and Arlene built this business into amazing, ginormous, obscenely successful business that wishing well from the space of benevolent, wishing well for all.
Now, wishing well is not something you put money into, okay?
Right.
We wish you well. We wish, this is because someone's asked the question, we're wishing everyone well. Bene comes from, the word benevolent comes from bene and volent. Bene is wishing and volent is for all, which was where volunteers come from.
And that really does change how you look at a business, the expansion of the business, whether, it's in our other business, which is Access Business, but this business too, wishing you well. I love that. So, wow, thank you.
Everyone you touch well. And basically, even if you look at this business, you can make the choice every day the way you want the business. If you could wishing well for all and make such a big business beyond you could ever imagine, and if someone want to buy your business, and if the business ready to expand and grow and be with someone else, are you willing to have that? Are you willing to be that? But if you are just say we're going to keep it for the rest of our life, you might not create the space for other people to say, gee, I really would like to be part of that business, or I really like to have that, to buy that business.
And particularly, Kathy, if you understand the vision, you understand the energy behind the vision, in the end, the vision is greater than the organization. So the way I look at things is whatever it takes to get that difference out in the world. If our organization is the best one to do it, may it be there forever. But if there's other ways of creating that difference in the world, then I'm in that as well too.
And the thing is, even if you let go of the we're going to keep it for the rest of our life, can you feel the different energy to willing to create every single possibility, whatever generative for the future and for us and for our whole family and for the world. If someone come along and light and really going to create more, you can make a choice whether you want to do it or not. Then you come from choice that, okay, no, I think it's more generative, create more if we keep the business. Or if you say, oh, is this going to be more generative if I sell the business? Then you actually have choice.
Wow, thank you.
We've only
so
got
much.
The first graphic, darling.
So become aware of what you would really like to create as your reality in your life. From the energy of it. Ask yourself, what would I like to create? What would I like to have as my life? And once you know that, I'm not talking about I want to travel around the world 15 times a year. I only like to travel on the first class, only one. It's just like energetically. What would it be like once I have this?
What difference do you want to make in the world? What is that difference that you want to create in the world? And you don't have to list down 15 different things, but it's the energy of that difference that you're willing to actually create in the world. The how-to starts to sort itself out once you actually are willing to be that energy of that difference that you want to make in the world. And don't go all airy-fairy on us and fluffy clouds and unicorns, blowing out kaleidoscope things of gas outside. It's what is this difference I want to create in the world without becoming esoteric about it. So, for example, for us, what we want to do is to be able to create the change that the world requires. We don't know what it is, but we're always looking for it. So when we go into boardrooms, whatever matches that energy of the change that's required, they'll tell me the change that's required. My job is to get them to the space where they're willing to be that change.
And we never use money as a source of our creation. That's one thing that we had to look at it when we started the business. It's everywhere that we use the money as a source of creation. We were willing to destroy and uncreate it all. So no matter what you are doing, whether you're creating your own life as life and living, or whether you create the business, be aware, are you using money as a source of creation, or are you the source of creation? So everywhere that you start judging and using money as a source of creation, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all, please? Because you are the source of creation. If you can actually function from that space that you are the source of creation, and if you can create everything from the space of infinite possibility instead of space of lack, all things are possible for you. Then we can start talking about a few different things that you still have to come from awareness of what you require to have in this contextual reality, so you can use this reality to work for you. So a few exercise, a few practice that we would really love you to ask yourself in the next 7 days is that, what would you like to create as your life and your reality? Become aware of that energy. That what would you like to have as your future? If you choose to have this, what would your future be like? So it's just asking yourself that, and be aware that the story you tell yourself, if you're owned by your story, you will not be able to be aware of what would you like to create as your life, your reality, and living. So when you sitting at the beach or going shopping or do anything, you could always ask, if I'm truly being me, if I'm truly creating my life the way I would like to live, who would I be now? What am I doing and creating right now? Because the creation of your life and living is every single moment. So no matter what you are doing right here, right now, it's a part of creating your life and you living. And you can ask, would I choose to do this if I'm truly creating my life and living?
One of the most insidious stories that we buy ourselves into is that we have people contacting us who would like to use our services but can't pay us. So thank you, Aurelia, for bringing that up, because we've had 4 or 5 people come to that. That is so trapping us back into this contextual reality, because then what you start to do is, as you see, and you feel that frustration where this is occurring, it's because we've bought into that that's the only way. That I want this to stop, as opposed to what do I need to be and do different? Like, for example, going out and seeking different sorts of people rather than those that are annoying the hell out of you by saying, I can't afford you. Well, what do I need to be and do different to change that? What if I did my consulting work or my advisory work or my coaching work in a different way than I've already decided is the only way it can be?
But when people come to you already to say, look, I can't afford you, what agenda are they being and using? What are they saying to you? What are they trying to bully you into something?
Do you know why we get frustrated? We think we have to save them.
Yes.
Get over being the savior. Get over being the savior. Never, ever, ever, ever try and save anyone. because then you've just victimized them. You've cemented what they've already decided is real. Well,
and if they tell you that I can't afford you,
they're right.
And they're right.
They're absolutely right.
If you be an enabler for them to be stuck in the poverty by whatever choice you make, let's say I can't afford you, then you said, well, okay, that could be right. But if you truly want to work with me, there are multiple ways of you can afford me. So this question, maybe you could ask yourself, if you truly see that working with me can generate different possibility, ask yourself, so what can I do now to afford working with you? What are other possibilities me? Because they're making money the power that the reason and justification why they are not doing it.
Or just bypass them all. I mean, one of the things, this is where I get, is where people say, I can't afford, I don't have the money, I don't have to do this. Nowhere in there is the question. So what would it take for you to create this then? Maybe your biggest gift to those people is to say, okay, I totally get that. What would it take for you to out-create this? What would it take for you to create more money? I can't afford you. I get that. Cool. Okay, so here's some free stuff for you, but what would it take for you to get over that point of view you can't afford something?
Maybe you can wedge and walk with people. You don't have to give everything, but you can actually drop some question or something that create totally different possibility in their universe. Whether they come back to work with you or not, by you asking one question as a gift to them that will get them to keep on being the question, you already create different possibility in their world, whether they choose to come to work with you or not. When we ourselves or anyone here that start thinking, I can't afford this, you shut down possibility because you will never go into the space of, so what would I need to be and do to be able to do this, to have this? Because you have to be aware when you use the word, I can't afford it. Is that the reason and justification to trap yourself into not having it? So might as well being brutally honest to ourselves by saying, oh, I'm just using money as the way to not choosing that. So wouldn't it be easier to say, well, I'm really not choosing that? Because if I'm truly choosing it and make a choice to choose whatever I want to create and generate, you start asking, I'm choosing to do this. In these 10 seconds, I don't have enough resource and funding or something to create and generate and to have that. But I know that if I choose to have this, it's going to create more in the world, create more in my life, create greater possibility in everything. I'm making the choice to do that. So what would it take for me to create and generate money, resource, and people to assist me to create that? So choice create. So you hear all the time saying, first you have to make a choice. Yeah. Once you make that choice and you truly want to create and generate that, once you make that choice, then you would have to be willing to go out and do it. A lot of people tend to say, okay, I'm making that choice. A lot of people said, yes, I'm choosing it. I'm choosing it. But people think that they're choosing it. They make a demand of the universe to provide it for them without they themselves choosing to be and do something different for it to happen. So for us, if we made the choice to do something, we'll be in the question that, okay, we make the choice to do this. So what do we need to be and do to create the funding, to create the resources, to create the people and the revenue to actually allow that to happen? And once you start being in that question, your awareness will come and say, oh, maybe I need to go and talk to so and so and see what can we create together. So as soon as you get that awareness, you got to do it. You can't actually park that awareness and hope that someone else will do it for you. So we still function in this space that take advantage of your awareness, but you still got to do something. And people always forget that part, that they still have to do
and something different, not just more of the same. So just as an example, we often get people coming to us or organizations coming to us that fit into one of two categories. The first category is you charge way more than anyone else in our field. We can't afford you. Can I get a discount? My answer to that is no. And there's different ways of saying no. The second category are those people who say, we really want to work with you. We don't have it in our budget. How can we work with you? Those people I will work with in all sorts of different ways.
Well, how can we work with you is they already make a choice that they would like to work with you. So when they come and say, we can't afford you, they justify by, I'm not choosing you and we want to make you be our victim.
You were too expensive.
Enabling me to be poverty stricken. So when we say yes to people like that, we realize that we enabling them to be less, to be poverty, to be in scarcity. So that would be the space that we do if we buy into that point of view.
So anytime there's the energy of anyone who's coming at you or talking to you that I can't afford you, you're too expensive, then acknowledge that their point of view is correct for them. So what I will say to them often is, yes, you are correct. And then just walk away. But
if someone come to you and said, I can't afford you, you are too expensive. So what agenda are they saying? Are they already...
They want to be saved.
They want to be saved or not saved. They want to prove that they are
prove
poor.
that you're wrong.
So what are they proving by saying that to you, that I can't afford you? They want to prove to you that they're poor. So if you are willing to buy in that poverty-stricken, are you enabling them to be trapped in this reality to be poor forever? They would never even be in the space say, oh, what else is possible? What can I be and do different to work with you? Therefore, when other people can step out and not come from the space is, please prove to me that I'm poor and please help me stay trapped and be poverty stricken and be stuck in this contextual reality of scarcity forever.
The best way.
Then you will say yes and do whatever to them. But if you're willing to actually be with them and say, what if there are different possibilities that we can work together? Have you ever considered that? Are you really choosing to work with me? If you would really love to work with me, there are multiple streams of possibility that you create and generate for us to work together, because I am not willing to trap you into the poverty and scarcity that you are creating right now.
That's the energy, not necessarily
not
the words
saying,
you use. With
okay,
can I just say the best way to say no to someone who has already decided you're too expensive for them and they're starting to judge you for wanting to charge too much, the best way of saying no is, here's my website address. It has a whole lot of free things on it that you might find very useful. Which means, of course, that you really should have something available where you've got some really cool stuff on there that you can give to people. So whenever someone comes to us and says, we can't afford you, I said, well, have a look on our website. You'll find some stuff that's really interesting on there. There's some podcasts and there's some videos and there's some stuff. This happened just last week with someone. And she came back and said, wow, I now am starting to understand what gratitude is, because I have gratitude for your willingness to gift me something. It was there. So the best way to say no is to point them to your website that has a whole lot of free shit on it.
And if you have business in any form, whether you are a facilitator or whether you're a consultant or whether you have whatever business, I mean, ideally is you would like to have a part of that that's true gifting to people, whether they choose to work with you or not. What would it be like if you have things on there that by reading or by listening to what you have to say, it would change something totally in their world, that they don't need to even come and see you and work with you. So it's so crucial for us to have, you know, something that will create change in the world, whether people are buying our product or services or not. So we would really invite everyone to start looking at what you can give to people from your website. And the strange thing is that will expand your life, will expand your universe. And the key thing
it'll
is,
get you out there as well.
If you expand your life, your finance will expand. It's different to people tend to do. They want to expand their finance first so they can expand your life. Would you be willing to come from different places that if you function on expanding your life for now and for the future, your finance will expand. If you could receive that and play with that this week, if I can expand my life, my finance will expand.
What
everywhere that would
life?
Not allow me to have that. Be willing to destroy and uncreate all that, and keep on asking, what else can I be and do different here that will allow me to keep expand my life, expand my reality. And don't try to make money as the source of your creation. You are the source of creation.
Yeah, the money's out there. You just got to get out of your own way. Oot sent through a great one. Last month, the client said to me, but in our field, nobody pays that big amount for one day. Do you know the best way to deal with that? This is what I love. I love doing this. I'll just look them straight in the eye and say, well, that isn't true, and then walk away. Well, that isn't true. And then just walk away. Let them suffer. I mean, let them think about it. Okay. So this took an interesting turn, didn't it?
I know. It turned from when the seagulls swooped in from Dom.
Darn seagulls.
I would really need some help.
Eva.
It's about creation, since we're
and linearity.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit.
Yeah, and linear construct.
Yep.
Because I've been, I took Shatisa's advice, and I've been doing stuff, and
I've seen the Instagram photos.
Getting the things going, and then it just the energy dies, and I realized creation for me, I started asking, what is it about this creation that makes everything stop? And I realized I go into a very linear model of how to create. Like, how do you create an Instagram account for a reindeer? You do and everything just dies.
Eva, can I interrupt you there then?
Yes.
What do you mean by energy dies? Energy doesn't die. Energy is infinite. It can't die. So all of your point of view that you have that say the energy dies, could you please look at that, please? Because what if the energy doesn't die, but it's different?
Yeah.
Energies are different in every moment. Energy, it doesn't feel the same. It's sometimes when it's go into generation, when it goes into maintenance, when it's go into different things. Are you willing to see that there's different energy in different moment of creation and generation of every project and activities? But if you create the project at the beginning and you go, this is so wonderful, and suddenly the project go into fruition and go into the space of creation and generation, the energy shift into really subtle, into really beautiful, sweet energy. But you judge that, that's not the excitement and energy anymore. It's died. You have already definitely killed it when you went into that space. Not the energy, because energy can't be killed and the energy can't die. But you kill the possibilities.
Oh, you've got her started on this one.
You have created. So
this is like buying into the children's joke of, what's that? That's a dead one of those.
Yeah. And what's that? Here's another one.
Eva, would you be able to, as soon as you step in and say, energy dies, you could say, okay, what is being created here that I'm not actually acknowledging? Because because would you be willing to see that energy that doesn't die? It just shifts and change into different
one of those
whatever
instead of one of those.
You know, so we talk a lot about every single choice you make create something. So if every single choice you make create multiple possibilities, you just have to be willing to look at all the multiple possibilities that get created with all those choices you make. But if you make a choice and you have a fixed point of view about the choice you make would create this energy and it should look like this and create this possibility, you have the answer for the choice you made, that you close the door to multiple choices and multiple possibilities that you have created. So it's not just one answer. It's not just one possibility. It's so multiple, right? But the important thing is, at the moment you're talking to us about energy, would you be willing to see that you create whatever misapplication about when the energy is great, that is creation, and when the energy is soft, it's no creation. Yeah. What if different sense, different energy are in the different process of being in the space of creation? People tend to say, oh, the energy was so wonderful and I create more. But maybe when the energy is soft, sweet, and orgasmic, in the different space, it is create more. But if you judge that it doesn't match that energy that you are into excitement, it's not creating. You can't see what it is creating. So the question that you have to be for yourself is, oh, okay, the energy changed. What is this energy? What is it creating? And what would it take for me to put more energy? What contribution can I be to generate, to be contribution to generate more? Take the energy.
Ask her what her point of view is now. What's your point of view now, Eva?
My point of view is that I have actually been, I'm really good at doing, when the shit hits the fan, I can fix everything. But I have really been asking for this sweetness energy. Mm-hmm. So it's so wonderful. My whole body, when you spoke about it, it's like, oh. But I did judge it as dead.
Uh-huh.
Because so when the energy is sweet and soft and not
just bubbling away rather than erupting.
Not erupting energy, it's dead. So everywhere that you have erupting good, soft and sweet is dead. Would you be willing to try and create it all, please? Yes. Right or wrong, good or bad, Pop and Pot or nine shorts, boys and beyond. We haven't Pop and Pot, but I think that one needs a Pop and Pot. Because Eva, I've sensed that. Look at each energy that you are creating and keep on asking, so what is this creating? What is this energy? What am I what is it being created here? And you ask project, you need more contribution, more energy to put in that. And then you can go, what generative energy space consciousness can I be? Project, Instagram, Facebook, reindeer, husband, son. What generative energy space consciousness can I be that will be a contribution to whatever you require with total ease? You take when you go into the space, oh, the energy die. You said, oh, what has changed here? What shift and change? What is it being created? And then you can go into the question, what generative energy space and consciousness can my body and I be that will allow us to be the catalyst for change, for different possibility with total ease? Don't judge, be the power. Don't judge, be the question. Don't be that question. If you can't think of any question, just be that question. What generative energy space consciousness can I be here that can change all of these to create more, to generate more? And be the miracle that you truly, truly are.
What comes up for me, Eva, is that even your not doing is greater than most other people's doing.
Anything else there, Eva? Did you?
I'm so looking forward to this week now.
Woohoo! Okay, Edith, come online.
Yes,
There she is.
Oh, hi, Edith again.
Hello.
Out for the 2 days as well.
Yeah, it's about Eva. In regards to Eva's question as well, another question came up for me. I get it when we ask question and we receive the possibility and we go with it, something will just get created. Mm-hmm. But what if it's about, for me, what I realize in my life, instead of choosing a possibility, I begin the project from a conclusion. Mm-hmm. Is it possible that there's nothing in the energy that follows that? Or can we, from a conclusion, create something? It's a weird question, but this is what is in my universe right now.
If you function from conclusion, then you are, which you are aware of, that a lot of your choice-based conclusion, then you are based on the past reference. Because you can't come into the conclusion if you don't have a past reference. So whatever conclusion that you have that based on the past, you only can create exactly like the past. Mm-hmm. Has been. So be aware that all of the conclusion, of the expectation, of the projection, and of the judgment only come from the past reference point. So you could only create as good as what the past is. And I sense from our conversation in the last 2 days that you know that there are other possibilities. Yes. And you know there are so much more that you can create with the CF business and your other business that you're looking to create. As long as you go into the conclusion about what you want to create, it stops everything. It is. What would it be like if you start being in the question here? Maybe you, like we were talking about, what would you like to create? Perceive that energy. What if everything is possible? And the truth is everything is possible. If everything truly possible, what would you like to create? Get some energy of that and start following that energy. Start being, okay, is this it? Is this the energy? And then perceive that energy. And I just catch the first part when you said that once you have that energy, it will get created. Yes, the universe will support you to create that, but you still have to do something to create it. You have to take action. And people tend to not take action and start blaming the universe for not actually giving them the thing that they desire and request. So universe will support you and give you more if you actually take action and do things yourself. So become aware of what you truly want to create. And we had quite a conversation about what you would like to create in your business, in your life, in where you are. But become aware of all of your choices that you want to create and recognize that it's a multiple stream of choices, not just those two at the moment that you're thinking of. We had a long conversation about what other project do you want to create. So ask that project when you look at that one and say, so what are the multiple choices and multiple possibilities that I can create with this project? And list them all down so you won't forget, because sometimes the awareness comes and then disappear so quickly. So just list them down. It doesn't mean that you want to do all of them. And keep list down all the things that's possible for the project that you want to create. And then look at each one and say, okay, is this for now or for the future? If it is for now, would I like to do, would it create greater possibility in my universe, in my world, and in the world? And if it's for now and the future, if you get, for now and the future, and the energy is so palpable and is that something that you would like to create for that one for now and for the future. What do I need to put in place right here, right now? What would I need to be doing right now as soon as I step out of this room? Who could I call? What do I need to put in place? Once you put that in place, the energy will become more. The universe will look at and say, oh, Edith wants to create this. So what question is she going to be asking? So I can support her in that. But if you just created that and not asking any question, then universe has billions of people to actually support. So it will go and support the one who asking the question first. And so once you create, be the question, create more, be the question. The question is the thing that say, hey, universe, here I am. This is the question.
It's the door opening.
Yeah. Thank you.
You have infinite possibility out there. It's very exciting, but you have to be willing to have, create, and generate something totally different. You have to be willing to actually take action.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Can I ask another question with that?
Sure.
It's like, it's about, there are two things that I get in what you say, is that I ask the universe, what would I like my life to be? And at the same time, is about me choosing.
Ask yourself, what would you like your life to be, not universe? Yeah. What would you like
Okay.
If you can have it, what energy, space, consciousness, you'll be, what would you like your life to be? Because this is a choice. It's your life.
Universe is there to support you, not create you.
Not to tell you how to create your life. First you have to be aware of what would you like to have as your life and your reality. Then you can make a choice for that to come. So there are a lot of people have the thank you for that, Edith. There a lot of people have misidentification, misapplication that universe have a point of view about how you should create your life. So everywhere that you think that the universe have a point of view about how you would create your life.
Karmic crap.
The what?
It's karmic. A lot of people have a karmic point of view.
Okay.
Not you, but how many culture thinks that it's a karmic, the universe, God, or whatever.
My path is already chosen. I just need to tread upon it.
Mm-hmm. So, but I don't think that's your point of view. But it's basically, it's not the universe that would make the choice for you and decide for you. First, you have to be aware. What would you like to have?
Universe
that would
supports.
Be fun for
you create. You create. Universe supports. It cannot support until and unless you choose to create.
What if
that's the theme of this month, isn't it?
What if your priority in your creation, in your life, right, from now is to have fun? And anything fun, do it. Anything fun, do it. And don't have the expectation of the outcome. Don't have the conclusion about, if I do it, I should receive these. Don't conclude and at all, just do it. And at the end of the day, just say, oh, that was fun. What would it be like if you start creating from now on just for you, just for fun, and just do it if it's fun. It will match that energy without any projection, conclusion, expectation of the result, and don't make the money as the source of your creation. Allow you to be the source of your creation just for fun. What would it be like if your priority from this moment onwards is just to create for fun? Expand your life, and your finance and your money will expand.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you so much for these 2 days with you guys. I think that for me, wow, it's the first time that it's about trusting myself, trusting me in what I really desire in my life. Yeah.
Thank you so much
for
receiving that. Now you trusting you. So the first part is you everywhere that you stop trusting you, just trust you. Step up and be greater than what you have been willing to be before. That's the only tool you could be to trust you is who would I be that I'm not willing to be now is the question. So if I trust me, if I'm totally trust me, who would I be that I haven't been willing to be now? And step in to be that in that moment. It's just like we were talking in the last 2 days about being quite disciplined. And that is what the discipline is. You have to catch yourself when you go into anti-conscious and unconscious. That is space of discipline, because we all been trained so much to slip ourselves back into automatic pilot and be in the unconscious space. So if you can be disciplined to catch yourself and say, oh, okay, who could I be that I'm not willing to be now, and be that in that second. And then start choosing to create your business in your life from the space of fun. If it's fun, I'm going to do it now, and let go of the need to actually make money for the here and now, and just do everything for fun. And you know that the money will come when you have fun.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, folks, I have never seen more comments come through on any call than I have on this call. And my eyes have been going, just reading all the stuff. Fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Really enjoying the conversations that you're having on the app. It's just delightful to see how there's no judgment coming through on there, and the questions are actually quite expansive questions that people are asking of each other. So well
please,
done.
this week, please start asking yourself, what would I like to create as my life from the energy of it?
Mm-hmm.
And who would I be if I'm truly create that life that I'm not willing to be now? And the third question before you make any choices about creating your life is ask, am I proving anything here? Am I proving with this choice, or am I creating with this choice? Because the only person that you're proving to is yourself. What would it be like if you don't have to prove to yourself anything? Mm-hmm. Once you trust in you, you don't really have to prove to yourself anything.
And that's a great way to finish this off. Beautifully said. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
See you next
everyone.
week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.